A senior federal judge has just compared the Trump administration to slave catchers. Yes, you heard that right. A Republican appointee, Judge Young in Massachusetts, has just delivered a shocking condemnation. This isn't just another courtroom battle. This is a moment like no other. And it's happening at the highest levels of the Trump administration. Why should you care? Because this is about your rights, the First Amendment, and what happens when those in power decide to suppress them. Judge Young just revealed something that could change the way we view freedom of speech in America. Stay with me to see how this story unfolds. Judge Young's ruling isn't just a court decision. It's the unraveling of a massive conspiracy. A conspiracy that saw top officials in the Trump administration, Marco Rubio and Kristi Noem, going after the First Amendment itself. But here's the twist. This isn't some isolated incident. This is part of a pattern. From limiting free speech to silencing critics, we've seen it happen time and time again. Now, we have to ask, what happens when the very people who are supposed to protect your freedoms are the ones trying to strip them away? Judge Young didn't just make a statement, he backed it up with hard evidence. He called out the Trump administration for a conspiracy to infringe upon the First Amendment rights of U.S. citizens and visitors alike. Here's the kicker. He accused cabinet members like Marco Rubio and Kristi Noem of leading the charge in this attack. These are high-level officials, people who should be defending your rights, and yet they're the ones accused of silencing dissent. Now, notice what's missing. The Trump administration didn't even try to defend their actions on constitutional grounds. They didn't address the core issue, their direct assault on free speech. Instead, they tried to dismiss the judge's authority altogether. And that's a huge red flag. The situation isn't just getting worse, it's escalating rapidly. What Judge Young uncovered isn't an isolated instance. It's part of a disturbing pattern of authoritarian tactics, and it's starting to normalize. This isn't the first time we've seen high-ranking officials abuse their power to suppress free speech. But the difference now, the Trump administration's actions are being openly criticized by judges appointed by Republicans, people who are supposed to defend the establishment. Judge Young's ruling shows that this isn't just about politics anymore. It's about something much bigger, the erosion of your constitutional rights. And here's why that matters. When a judge compares this to the days of bounty hunters chasing freed slaves, it's a stark reminder of how far this has gone. We're not talking about minor infractions. We're talking about the system itself being bent to silence dissent. But the real bombshell, Judge Young didn't stop there. He pushed even further, calling out the Trump administration for its blatant disregard of the First Amendment. This wasn't just a ruling. It was a call to action. He didn't hold back, labeling the Trump administration's tactics as authoritarian and accusing them of targeting anyone who dared speak out. And here's where it gets chilling. Despite all the evidence and the weight of his words, Trump's team still had the nerve to argue that they had no responsibility in this matter. They looked Judge Young dead in the eye and said, "You don't have jurisdiction over us." Think about that for a moment. In the face of a clear violation of constitutional rights, they dismissed it outright. This wasn't just a legal argument. It was a challenge to the very authority of the court. And the pressure is building fast. First, we saw the Trump administration try to silence protesters on college campuses. Then they attempted to remove those who dared criticize U.S. foreign policy. But now it's worse. We've got ICE detaining students, holding them for months without due process. We've got high-level officials blatantly undermining the First Amendment. And if this continues, the very foundation of our freedom is at risk. What happens if this continues? We're heading into uncharted territory where dissent could be treated as a crime, and the government could act with impunity. The stakes couldn't be higher. Now let's shift focus. This isn't just about politics, it's about real people, the students and activists who are directly impacted by these actions. Imagine this. You're a student on a visa, peacefully protesting a policy you don't agree with. You're not violent, not inciting harm, just expressing your opinion. And suddenly you find yourself detained, locked away in an ICE facility for months. No charges, no due process, just silence. This isn't a hypothetical. This is happening right now, and it's happening to people just like you. If this feels familiar, say so in the comments. Because this isn't just about legal battles. It's about human lives and the price of standing up for what you believe in. Now let's take a step back. This isn't just a series of bad decisions. It's a systemic issue that goes deeper than any one administration. It's about how power works in this country and how those with power manipulate the system to protect their interests. The Trump administration didn't act in a vacuum. They had the full weight of the federal government behind them, and they weren't afraid to use it to suppress any voice that didn't align with theirs. But what's the mechanism here? It's leverage, it's spectacle, it's fear. The very structures that are supposed to protect you, your rights, your freedom, are being twisted to serve a different agenda. And that's what Judge Young called out. This isn't about one person. It's about a system that allows this kind of abuse to happen. Now, the question is, where do we go from here? On one hand, you have people like Judge Young who are standing up for the Constitution, fighting to protect the freedoms that are supposed to be guaranteed to all of us. On the other hand, you have an administration that continues to push back, one that isn't afraid to challenge the very system designed to keep them in check. The future is uncertain. We don't know yet if the courts will hold the line or if more officials will be emboldened to follow this same path. What we do know is this: the momentum is building and the next moves are already taking shape. At the end of the day, this story isn't just about one judge, one ruling, or one administration. It's about the very principles that this country was built on and whether we're willing to fight for them. The actions of Judge Young are a wake-up call. If we're not careful, what we saw with this attack on the First Amendment could become the new normal. But here's the thing: the story doesn't end here. What happens next will determine whether or not this fight continues. This is a battle that's far from over. To keep following the latest developments, hit that follow button and stay tuned for more in-depth analysis.